Welcome to Silva Paintovers. Name my subject to change. Episode 1. Or I don't know if we're calling these episodes. I'm going by the year. The first ever episode, the first brave soul to step in through the light and actually put his own work on display for everybody. He doesn't care to get murdered. Okay, maybe he does in-game. In-game. He doesn't care to be pummeled by chat again in-game. He wants to improve. And let me tell you, I hope he does, because I'm gonna put some time into this. So let's begin. Let me lower down the music for a second there. So morkeni, or morkeni, I don't know how to say your name. This is the image he wanted me to do a paint over of, and he said, he gave me a little bit of context. Yeah, you know what? Here. A little bit of context for everyone to see. Context. My goal is to improve right now. I'm trying to create my own characters after studying from photos slash live sessions. That's actually really good. Ultimately, I would like to do full illustrations, having a character with a full background, etc. Example, your martial goddess medieval piece, or Final Fantasy VII summons Shiva. I do not plan on going with this professionally or get a job in the industry. It's just a hobby I treat seriously. I see you. I see you, morkenis. How many morkenis do you really need in life? To be honest, just one in this stream. It is. This background song makes me think of a huge battle is about to start. It is. It's gonna be me. Right here, right now. And I'm gonna stop the music. Alright. So, you just wanted to improve overall. I'm gonna take the paint over. So every paint over is different. I also took the other steps for from your character so that I can maybe help you every step of the way. You want to improve overall. So I'm gonna take that into consideration and try to spend equal amounts of time every step of the way. For any future people wanting a paint over, you can request a specific thing or like something that you just want me to focus completely on. That's absolutely fine too. Then I always can get more in depth. So just keep that in mind when watching. Specifically you, morkeni, if you're gonna be watching this video. That I could always go in depth in certain areas, but I might not, because then it'll turn into a 5-hour paint over. So initially, let's look at your drawing. That is the foundation, and all the way from the gesture to the design. Let's point out the good things first. I think the torsos are really not that bad. As far as gesture goes, I really like the upper half of your character. I feel like you're also a little bit like me, that the moment legs exist, you just start having like some issues. So your brain starts melting, and you don't know what legs exist, or why legs exist, rather. That's where I would focus in your image initially. I'm gonna critique you first, and then I'll go through the paint over real quick. You had really nice shapes to the hair. I do feel like you're going a bit more stylized. You mentioned you like my martial goddess image and my Final Fantasy summon Shiva. So I am gonna take it like that's sort of the direction you would want to go as far as drawing and painting wise. So you do want to keep. I really like the hair graphical shape that you got going here, and then you sort of like as you kept going through it, you maybe felt like it was a bit too like an umbrella or so, which I understand why you've made that decision. It's not that it's a wrong one. I will show you how you can still pull this off while still having a bit more graphical shapes and a little bit more stylization to your character. And I was gonna say I like the legs. I mean the legs aren't okay. So I'll maybe explain in detail. The gesture of the legs, I like the upper half, and the legs aren't. It's not like they're terrible. It's just that there is a disconnection between the two, and it feels almost like two different images, so to speak. And also, she's floating right now, and that is a perspective issue, and also it's a perspective / gesture issue that I will help you. That I'll help you solve it. I'll do it on this image though. This one is just so I can see what you the direction. Hey, you know what? Maybe the middle one would be the best, because then I can render a little bit for you and show you what I would do. Okay, yeah, let's do it from this one. So, Calyx did mention something that that he's not wrong, which is the background is pure white. There's nothing really wrong with that. It's just that when you make someone pale, like when I turn this black and white, or I just put the color here, there's barely any contrast against the white. I would generally recommend, let's see if I can do this without making it look too scuffed. I would generally recommend you, oh no wait, I know how to do this. Select, color range, pure white. All right. I would generally recommend you to go with a mid-tone. It can even be a colored mid-tone that goes against, like you have red on the character, right? So I can sort of like do that. Oh wait, hold on. Would this be better? All right. Like a little bit darker. I'll clean it up here for you just a little bit. I do wish that this was a PNG, so I didn't have to spend time doing that, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna be moving things around anyways, so I'll just clean it up a tiny bit. All right, this is good enough for now. Legs are the focal point here. Them thickness. Okay, so gesture. First thing you want to take into consideration is, let me actually do it with green because there's red there. She's off balance. It looks like she's falling back. I get that you're putting the leg back in there, but right now the way you're constructing I'll focus on the legs first because it's your main issue. The way you're constructing the legs, I'm gonna just outline what you have, is that especially when the shoes come in practice here, is that the feet are at an angle, like so. If she were to really put her foot down, first of all, it would be like more like that. And another way to figure it out, I'll remove it here, is by knowing where is the center of balance. Usually the center of balance tends to be right under our head, or right, technically the center of balance is like right behind the head, like at the very top on the back of the head. So you kind of want to maybe move it sort of towards there. And you would have, so most of the character is on the left side of the line here, which show us where's this the stronger tendency of shift of the body. So it feels like she's like sort of like scooting herself to the right side. Imagine that there would be like a chair or something or a box here, and she's kind of like going around it. That's how it looks like right now, and it doesn't feel kind of natural. And like I don't get why she would be doing that for this kind of character. Maybe she's a dancer. That's the thing that kind of gave me an idea. Maybe should be a type of a dancer, and this is like as if she's doing the move or so. But if you're just showing characters in general, I would recommend maybe not doing that. Like it works better in animation than it does in a still image. I would recommend moving the character. So let's begin adjusting the pose here. By the way, Calix, can you change the title for me, please? To oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it for you. Yeah. Can you change the title to Paintover? Paintovers or something like that. So I'm scooting. I'm keeping that line in there. I will be drawing over your character, but I just want to show you quickly how there's also an issue with the torso being a little too short, in my opinion, and there's some other proportion issues, but we'll get to that in a second. First is the gesture. So I'm sort of like scooting her a little bit here. I'm also going to, let's grab this overall. Once again, I will help out and draw. I'm sort of like bringing her here. This is squashing her head a little bit, but it's fine. We'll redraw. So I'm kind of centering her a little bit. And if you really want that foot to be outside, you can. It's fine. Like that. She's a bit deformed, but for now it's okay. We'll draw over. All right. And another thing you can do, actually, let me scoot her a little bit more to the left. There you go. So generally speaking, when you have, I'm gonna do another adjustment for the legs. When you have the center of gravity or the line here, you I don't know what's your perspective. That's another issue. I don't know. I don't see it from the sketch view. I don't know what's the horizon line. You should always check where the horizon line is. I'm gonna set it here. It's just a random placement that I'm giving it. So I'm eyeballing this, but you should actually do a proper like perspective guide for it. But I will say that the center line for this would be sort of like that according to perspective. So this is where your character is standing. This is the floor. If you some people like to do like squares based on the perspective and to make the character either sit or stand on, right? You can make a little platform if you want to, although just a quick you know, if you are good at perspective, you can eyeball it pretty accurately and it won't be an issue. So now you can tell which foot is in front, which foot is in the back. And this is extremely important. So this one is clearly at the front, this one towards the back. Now when we see this, we can start noticing what makes it more off balance as well. So not only are the legs spread, right, but they're kind of like on a weird angle. And another thing is that now that I added the horizon line, you see that if I draw the points from like the hips seem to be kind of okay. Actually the hips would be here. The hips seem to be kind of okay with the perspective a little bit, but like everything else seems to be off. You know, again, I don't know where your horizon line is, so maybe if you did do one, then that might be better. But you want to keep that in mind, where points of interest or major points where, for example, the shoulders, the edge of the shoulders, hips, knees, like the bones of the, I forgot, the heels or the ankles. Sorry, not the heels, the ankles, the bones in the ankles. All of those are landmarks in the body, and you can take advantage of that and fix your stuff based on it. So, for example, this line here, this is a quick gesture or gesture / perspective thing. Based on the perspective that you have, the left side of the character should be higher than the right side of the character. Sorry, the other way around. No, the lower. No, I am right. The lower part of the character on the left side should be higher than the one on the right. However, once we go above, based on what you have, and like your gesture, the right side should be higher than the left side, because, you know, if we drew a circle or a tube in this perspective, like this is the center of the tube, and this is how, if you could see through the cube, this is how we would see the you know, the shape sort of like turn away or towards us, right? So this one, we would see the bottom of things. This is like the bottom, and this one would be like the center. It's flat, and then from this point on, we would see the top of things. That's what you want to sort of keep in mind. Even if you don't know perspective, having this basic rule in mind can already help a lot. So, with that said, I'm going to keep that, and I am going to fix your character. So there's some things I can't teach you, which is that was pretty much gesture as far as critiques goes. I will change the gesture now to match what we were talking about. So I do like the leg here. There's a few proportion issues here. So like the thickness of her legs versus the whole body. I'm not saying that skinny people cannot have thick legs. I mean, obviously they can, but there would still be a few other landmarks where it could show that, you know, they have the thickness, right? So we are going to keep the thicker parts, but we taper in, and this is a bit of a stylization too. We're going to taper in anywhere there's sort of a joint. Since you referenced my work, I'm gonna help you how to reach what I like to do, which is, I like to taper even if a character is really thick. You know, I'll always taper in the thickness where there would be joints. You know, so I'm gonna keep the joints relatively small as well, and then she can have like thicker lower legs as well if you really want that. I'll get to rendering in a bit. First, we need to fix your character's gesture. So generally speaking, yeah, thick to thin is the goal. And another thing is that this is also related. It's anatomy / gesture, but another thing I do keep in mind is that a lot of elements in the body have a zigzag pattern. So like the hips to like here it's at an angle. These two, the hips and the muscles around the hips, or on the legs rather, and then the muscles on the back of the legs would have sort of like this angle to it, and then we would have the same here, and then there, and then here, and it always does that sort of like zigzag effect, that happens a lot in the body. And you open an image, and as long as you're looking for it, you'll notice. That's the thing. So you want to keep that sort of balance, especially for gesture. I'm gonna help your muscles here a bit better. She's really bright, but we'll add a little bit of a muscle in there. Again, mainly focusing on the gesture, because I do feel like that is the number one thing that sticks out to me. And also, I mean, there's some anatomy issues, but honestly, you just need, like, you need to keep practicing anatomy. I mean, I will show you and I will fix some stuff and for you, but I don't think you will learn much from it other than like opening an anatomy book and studying all the muscle groups and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as gesture goes, I think you can benefit from this for sure. Again, I am keeping things in mind. I'm taking it slowly, changing one thing at a time. I'm keeping the angle of stuff of your character, the body. So one you should do I don't know if you've done construction. Maybe a little bit. I'm seeing some scribbles here and there. Doing construction lines for your character would be very helpful. So not only these green lines that you see here, but like boxing things out, like, oh, here is, you know, the tilt and perspective of the hip, you know. So if we were to see through an x-ray and the hip was a box, and like if you box everything, it can be incredibly helpful. It's a bit of a hassle initially, but I would say that worth pretty much, right? So now you can kind of tell that where the hip would be. I mean, I still think that there's a bit of a issue with proportions, so I'm gonna keep like adjusting that. So maybe you'd have to raise where the hip is, or she has a small hip, right? Each box as well would sort of like propose the proportion of a character, right? But yeah, I think this part here will be the top of the muscle in the end instead of a hip, and I'll make the hip up here because that makes more sense. Leave thickness. I will leave thickness, but first I gotta fix stuff, and then you can play with the thickness. Oh wait, the final of the image though, you decided you wanted a full body thing. We'll do that instead. I won't forget. I will help you with the design a little bit. Again, I'm not gonna spend too much time on every step of the way, but for now, let's just cover her like you've done. And there you go. Okay, so this is a good point. This leg is a little too high compared to everything, and this is a proportion issue. Let's copy, paste. I'm gonna bring down. Again, you do have some size. It's proportions. There's some proportions, especially the joints seem to be gigantic. Now, like, I just lowered this down, and you'll see how the angle of things will start to line up a bit better. Also gonna just fill this in, and then we'll adjust as we go. All right. Now I'm doing a paint over. In your case, what I would have done is I would take what you have, I would lower down the opacity and do a drawing over it. The reason why I didn't do that is because you requested an overall paint over, not a gesture specific paint over. So this is the fastest way for me to do the changes and still like give you some important notes, right? But for example, look at the leg now. That it's finally fitting the perspective and the angle you'd be aiming for. Now this leg, I still feel like it's a bit broken, but we'll get to it, or rather, we are getting to it. You want her to be a bit of a Chun-Li. I'll keep that in mind as well. So the horizon line, if when the side planes do not show, never knew that. The more you know. We can show a little bit of a butt cheek in there. This brush isn't helping me. It's kind of, there you go. It's just a round brush. It's good enough. I'm gonna completely remove this. It's just not working out. I'm trying to see. Okay, so with these paintovers, I'm trying to make them in a way that you might still wanna go back and change it. And I'm trying to show a process that maybe it wouldn't require you to do a complete do-over, but there's certain things that I do need to just get rid of because it's not working out, you know. I'm also gonna soften these because I will show you how I would render as well. Wait, this is lower. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change that. This is lower, this is higher. I'm thinking of the muscle groups right now. So you do want, I do want the leg here. There. So it's sort of like, and we're gonna move our character a bit more to the left, so it'll make a bit more sense. There you go. Sorry, wait. There. And now the foot. Okay, so here's another thing. This is actually really important for gesture. Where your foot is pointing, it's where your knee will be pointing as well. Generally speaking, unless you're doing some sort of like, I don't know, like you're trying to naturally, that's going to be the case. So you should always consider the center line like this. So let's say in your character, you painted the knee as, we even see like the silhouette of the yeah, like a ballet. Unless you're doing something like a ballet move or whatever, then that might not be the case. But if you're following the center here, then that means that you most likely have the foot like this or this. There is a bit of a leeway, you know. It's just like an arm. Like there's a bit of a leeway if you lock your forearm and you don't twist it. There's a bit of a side to side, back and forth. The same is with the foot. There is some flexibility, so you can be a bit off to the side, just a bit though. It can be a little bit off to the side or towards us or whatever, but you gotta be very subtle with that. Hi, Damien. So in this case, we need to decide where we want. Pretty much the knee can dictate where the foot goes. So if the knee is here, the foot would be like pointing towards us. Obviously, you're gonna have to change the shape of the leg, but if your knee is on the inside, then it'll point there. If it was on the outside, obviously now it looks completely broken, but then it would point towards the outside, and you'd have like the muscle here, this will be there, this will be here, and then you'd have a foot like that, which I don't know if that's what you want to go for. I'm gonna try to match to what you have or what your idea was, instead of giving you my idea. I'll try to follow up with you, but let's just let's do this here. I'm constructing your leg. All right. And of course, I am gonna keep in mind some of the stylization that you like from my work, and I will make a comment on that when I'll focus on it. So I'm Mo. Hello. We good? Good. So again, knees here. The shoe, once again, it follows the perspective. However, this might be a little different because it's going back. Right? In this specific situation, it's going back. So the shoe, wait, actually I should maybe change this one first. I forgot to do that. Blah blah. So this would be more like that. There you go. And now this shoe, if it's going to the back, you want to know how much far back do you want it. So here it might actually be a little higher than the perspective, just because again it's going there, right? Instead of going there, or in this case here. If the feet were on the same plane, all right, I'll do a quick copy paste, blah blah. If they were on the same plane, then like if she was just standing like this, which is not what you are going for from what I can tell, then you would have to follow the perspective, right? But that's not the case. It's going back, right? You cooking in the new house? I was cooking, so I've been lurking. Cooked the Dutch. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, I did read that you moved. Congrats. Are you in a better place, Simon? Okay, so the tip of the, I'm kind of guessing where you'd want it to be. So maybe like here. Again, I know this from first hand, man. I am not good with legs either. It's something that always takes me time to fix properly. I will do my best so I can help you and give you the tips that I personally use all of this to make sure that whatever I do looks right. I'm also gonna remove the lines here because I don't need them anymore. But every time I need to check my legs and stuff, this is the sort of measurements and guides that I do in order to avoid any issues like that, you know. All right. She's still a bit too thick. I'm gonna yeah, and you know what? I'm jumping places here. Let's just fix your shoes, or the general direction of your shoes. There you go. The inside muscle of the leg is a little lower than the outer side muscle of the lower leg. So you're gonna have this sort of angle to it instead of making it straight, which a lot of people do, which is like, you know, a lot of people just draw legs like this, or the muscles don't really go that way. The muscles go this way, like that. Or I mean, depends which leg you're drawing. So this leg would be the shift would be this. I also don't know how toned she is, so I'm a bit reluctant. I'm gonna go with like softly toned, you know. I'm a bit reluctant to draw some of these muscles, but I will tone her a little bit. Now here's the part where I do a bit of the stylization. Again, it's the same as in the other leg. I like to taper in, and I think a lot of people do that when they stylize stuff. I like to taper in where the joints would be. And another thing that I'm keeping in mind is angles. So the fuck, this is not a good color. There you go. So when I'm sculpting or when I'm redrawing or whatever, I'm considering the rhythm of the silhouette. And the same will be here as I keep going, you know? I'm considering this rhythm a lot, and that helps with making the gesture, and not only the gesture, but like the stylization of the character a bit more interesting. The more sort of like rhythm you give to it, again, the whole blah 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 thing that I just talked, the better it seems from what I've observed. At least to me, it just seems more interesting when there's that. I am gonna keep her like relatively soft looking as far as muscles and stuff go, and is where the shoes would be, right? Sort of like that. And I'd say the legs are mostly, yeah, mostly done. I do like some sharp edges, even if a character is like, for example, a girl character is rounded, and she has thickness to it. I think you should still give some edges to her. I mean, it's just the reason why is because it emphasizes the roundness due to contrast, right? When something sharp is against something round, I'd say either one help each other because of the contrast, right? Whichever you make more obvious tends to be the one. I'm gonna now move on to the torso here. That it's the least problematic, but there are some problems. So the first thing is, again, shoulder width to hips width, especially thick girls tend to have wider hips. That's just generally how it is. Wider hips and shorter shoulders. So this is actually okay. The ratio. So what I was looking for. The torso. Let me look at the torso here for a second. Let me build your character. Of course, the face is completely. We're gonna redo this because it's when we did the transform. The transform tool, it deformed her a little bit. Also, just noticed there's some mistake here. So, all right. I have a problem with the neck. It's not come from her body. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so I'm thinking that this curve here might be too much, man. Like this, it could be a little much. So I'm gonna crop it here to show that this is where, like she is leaning back, right? She does seem to be leaning back, or at least that's what we set ourselves to do. And okay, so here's the torso. I'm gonna kind of draw out where you were thinking of maybe drawing the torso. I feel like there should be a bit more space. Again, I'm not making her boobs bigger. I'm just shifting them a bit more outwards to, again, balance out everything else. I do think you could benefit with, let's see if this will help. I think you could benefit from making her just a little taller. It'll make the whole thing a little a little less painful. She seems a bit dwarfed up. I mean, we can remove the arms here and put them there, still where you want it to be. That's fine. And again, the purpose of these paintovers is to improve what you have. Unless something is really bad, I don't see why I should like make you do something completely from the beginning if you can fix what you have or the idea you were going for. Why do you have a huge Pepe bee in front of you? It's Beepo, Pixie. And he's extremely wide and happy. Well, actually not wide anymore. He fought diabetes. It's a beautiful story. But this white is the white, you can tell the white is bothering me. Also, I still feel like the shoe is pointing a little too much to too much, whoa, it's pointing too much down. So there you go, that feels a bit better. 1 second. I got some food. I'll put it here for now. And we'll continue with the paintover. Yeah, so I made her, okay, fix her shoe. I keep doing this ruler mistake thingy. And now, okay, here. I'm gonna give, okay, so you know what I said about, I care about the shapes of the silhouette of like the muscle groups and stuff. The same goes for, well, the same goes for everything. But like, I'm thinking that here it's pretty flat. Right now, the way it looks is just, there's a curve, and then I made the hips bone in there. You want to use, you want to use landmarks as really as much as possible. So I'm actually gonna put some red here because, I mean, this is an issue that I'll mention, was gonna mention later, but I'll do it now because it'll help the silhouette of the character here. I mean, in this pose, you'd still see the whole like jacket sort of like puff up here on the side. But for example, the upper, like under the bone under the breasts, you want to keep that in mind. Of course, she's wearing something that maybe is even like elevating her breasts. Who knows? I mean, generally that tends to be the case. But I'd say that we want to really show that that landmark in there. So blah, you know. And that will help you with the look. If you like my work, as you said you did, that'll help you with that sort of look, because I do that times 2. I really go crazy for that, for those sort of landmarks. So I'm gonna keep going. There you go. And I am simplifying. In reality, there would be all these subtleties from like the muscles. There would be a bit more waving to it, but especially if you look at Shiva, I might be rendering her in a realistic manner, but her torso is literally just like that, almost, you know. So you want to keep that in mind when exaggerating. Of course, you'll know when to exaggerate the more you know about anatomy, right? I mean, you can already see where we're going with the before and after. I do think now this needs to be a bit elevated, but I will tackle your design after fixing your character a bit. Let's do a bit of the red here. Oh, that's another thing I just noticed. Why was there white? Oh no, there wasn't. It's just my selection was dumb. Why was there white? I mean, it seems like you fixed that after. So I'm just gonna fill it in here. There you go. And food. I bet it's sushi or KFC. Neither. It's bread. You know what? Wait. Give me just a second. It's it's a French toast. All right. Oh, ribs. Yeah, it's important you showcase the planes. Oh, that's gonna be in the render. I'll mention briefly. Again, I'll spend more time on this because I feel like it's your biggest issue. But I will mention a couple of things about rendering. Okay, so there's a few proportion issues again. Well, I'm actually still seeing some on the legs, like that. There you go. The hands seem to be a little small to her face. Now there's two solutions to this. You can make her head smaller or her face smaller. So all that really means is I'm gonna redraw here your face. Actually, where's the other layer so I can see what kind of face you wanted? I'll just do this just so I have an idea what she's sort of Asian looking, I think. Let me look at the final actually. Yeah, kind of ish, like an evil. So what I recommend you do as far as your face goes, again, this is a construction issue and like anatomy. We don't see any jawline, we don't see any, it's like the hair before it was lining up perfectly with the shape of her face and then merging in with the neck. You want to show a little bit of the jaw, even if hair covers the ears, like at least show a little bit of the jaw, like so. And remember what I was saying, like, oh, I kind of really like this shape you got going. This is a bit of a design comment, but you could still give it an angle, like make it a bit stylized. It can be shorter, but the thing is that the hair, there's multiple ways to go about this. You could have hair that actually this way would be better. Okay, the reason why I think instead of going this direction instead of going the other direction is because it creates the silhouette, and this is a design based decision. The silhouette of this shape of the hair goes against the arm like that, and it creates contrast. And that's why first my initial input would be this, and it could work. I mean, it still works. It's just that this is probably a better decision because, again, it just goes against the shape. And now here, you have way too much hair on the other side. In this situation, you do want to tone it down. So again, we are making it as graphical as you used to have it, but still maintaining that level of realism that you like from my work. And again, the hair here, you see the shape, this shape here that's creating like a little arrow looking thing. I actually really like this, so I'm gonna keep it, although I'm gonna change it just a little bit so that it fits the form, because we can still ignore how the form is and just do whatever shapes we like. We still gotta follow, how her hair actually is. So now we're getting somewhere. As you can see, slowly but surely, we're getting somewhere. I forgot to do, you don't really see her belly button at all, but you can draw a little bit of a line here just to, there you go, for now, just as a reference. Oh yeah, I need to spread her chest a little bit more. I forgot we were doing that. No, there you go. That's way better. So we are getting somewhere. She's standing on the ground, even though I am following still the pose you had as much as possible. I do think that what I have is not 100% correct. You'd have to work on it, but you see where the direction is going. Who made the line work? The same guy that requested the. It's all one person. I really like the line work. a lot. I feel like he got lost a bit in the process, but there are some issues. Let me remove that. Okay. So, I'm just gonna. There you go. Oh yeah, proportions. I was talking about the hands. So the hands. I made the moment I outlined the jaw. It made so that the hands. You could have made the hands bigger and keep what you had, or you could just give her a jaw and automatically shrinks her face a little bit. And I'm also gonna try to oversimplify here for the sake of education, so you see exactly what I'm going for. But like the shape of the face that I would go with. By the way, I'm gonna be sending I'll send the file as well. I'll upload the file somewhere, and whoever requests a PAINTOVER can get it. So from this point on, her hands now seem to be of the same size as her face, and that's usually how you measure. With that said, I do think that the shoes now, you change one. That's one of the things that tend to happen. You change one thing, and everything else seems to not work. So we're going to resize. Whoa. We're going to resize the foot. The way you work with the way you take care of proportion is by measurement and comparison. So every time you every time you want to, yeah, this feels a bit better. You want to see, oh, is something off, size, then you compare it to all of the other elements in the image. And that's exactly what I'm constantly doing. I mean, I'm not vocalizing it because I'm thinking, but I'm still fixing. This is me, man. I got so addicted fixing legs that right now I know it's all I want to do. All right, let's refocus here. The face, right? So I'm comparing the hands to the face to the feet, the feet to like the length of the legs, etc. It's just a constant comparison, non-stop, and that's how you fix proportions. And if you, I don't know which references you used. I guess that could have been helpful in giving you this critique at this part of it, but it's not really necessary. It's fine. And I feel like if you do that, you're gonna definitely improve this aspect like rather quickly. Hi Lotus, how are you doing? This is a critique. This is a PAINTOVER. The first in a long while. So the next thing is oh yeah, I was talking about the face. Her neck is much more realistic now. I am gonna be touching the neck though. Yeah, so the face, it's better if you first simplify and you give it a structure. So in my case, it's like I'm trying to really make it simple here for you. It's pretty much that, like a mask, and of course you have your eye placement and stuff. I'm gonna try to follow. Okay, so another thing is that I think that her hairline now is too high, so we're gonna fix that. And you want to know where is the outline of the actual face. So once you have the outline figured out, you can then start placing. That she has a short forehead, that she has a long forehead. In your case, it seems to be pretty normal, so I'm kind of like blah blah. I like doing this a lot when I'm just messing around with a character design. Oh, another thing is that this needs to follow perspective as well. So don't forget the lines that we've done before. Where's my there? So the head is following the perspective as well. So in this case, it's not going to be straight like this. It's going to be at an angle. I'll overdo it for you, for your sake, but it should be slightly at an angle, especially if she's looking at us, right? So I'm going to don't forget where the eye is placed. Again, all proportions, all comparison, always comparing space and elements with other elements. So I'm comparing, like, okay, I'm placing my eye here because I see how far it might be from the jaw. If I feel like it's too close, then I'll move the jaw away, or I'll move the eyes away if I want to. So here I'm just gonna I'm actually gonna lower down her eyes a little bit like that. So this is a bit at a bit of an angle, and now I'm gonna add her forehead, or a brow bone, then a forehead. And these are all, it might look very subtle, I don't know if you can catch it on stream, but I'm going like bam 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 bam, wait, bam 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 bam, you know, like I'm always looking at the rhythm of the outline of the thing that I'm drawing, right? And how intensive do I want it to be. So you seem like you wanted her a bit of a round face. I'll give her that. And let me merge everything. You did have her looking at us, so I will change my mind, and I'm going to move her jaw, which is gonna move her chin, which is gonna move her eyes, and that's what I'm thinking. So I am gonna try to and follow what I kind of like, the forward looking, like she's just like really fucking confident, but I don't think it's a good idea. And there's certain situations where it's good for me to inject what I think would be better. You know what? We'll do middle of the road because I really I really like it. But if you want her to look at us, you can still make it so, like, just make her faces. You know, bring her face outline. Obviously, is gonna change with this, and the hairline. So everything shifts in this case. The hairline got a center. Again, I'm thinking about everything, like where is the center of the face, etc., etc., etc. Right. As for the render part, I will render like one area for you. No, I'm obviously not gonna do the whole fucking character because then this becomes a commission. But I'm just doing a bit of a placement. Again, the same with the shadow of the nose. I'm like, do I want the short nose, like a short nose? Do I want to like a really long nose? Like what do I want? You know. Now I'll kind of follow what you have, and it's a bit middle of the road. At least it seems like that's what you're going for. Like that. And if the eyes are this strong of an angle, shouldn't that change the angle of the jaw? Well, there is a bit of a shadow here, but then again, her pose is that she's like that, you know, like, so I don't. Yeah, you can see me. Well, like she's not like this, you know. She's sort of like giving an attitude, is what I'm getting from this. So her neck here extends, and the head lowers like that. So we get a box, sort of like looking a little bit down at us, but we do see a bit of the outline where we do see just a smidgen here. This triangle is gonna be a little bit of the like under jaw area. However, this is also stylized. He was saying that he really likes my specifically two of my works, so I'm sort of following that, which neglects some of that some of that realism in order to have more graphic shape to it, you know. So that's another thing you want to consider what you want to give up, but it's got to be made in a way that it doesn't feel unnatural, right? So right now okay, so right now what we're gonna be doing is that I'm gonna adjust where the ear is. The ear tends to be like the everyone is different, but like if what you want to do is you want to draw a line across, and it tends to be the top of the lip and lower part of the eye, or the middle part of the eye. It really changes of the angle too. If you look up, then it goes lower. If you look down, then it goes higher. In this case, it'll be higher than the lip area. So we're gonna get a lot of neck action here, which is pretty cool because it'll really bring, like, give her attitude. Like we can even compare before and after now. Like she has a lot more fucking attitude. Here it seems like she's sort of like dancing to the side or so, and here's more like yeah. To me, at least. Like I hopefully you see it in that way that I see. I'm gonna remove completely what you drawn in there, and I'm gonna redraw the shoulders. So it goes there. I don't want to do too much, but just a little bit is fine. The shoulder blade. I love it. It's like nose line, eyebrow line. Yep, yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, so I would consider these lines here, or the darker outlines, to be oh wait, I just noticed a mistake. Forget what I was gonna say. I actually, I don't know. Is your character leaning a little to the right? Because if she is, then this is fine. If she's not, then we're gonna have to change more. I think she is leaning a little bit to the right. I think that's what you meant her to do, which is fine. It's not wrong. It's just that we need to consider the angle of things, like here. Where would the where would the ends meet? You know, is it this? Is it that? Where is she angling? I feel like she's maybe going a little bit to the right based on where you put the hands. I think that's what you wanted. So she puts a bit more strength on this leg here, which I still find it. Okay, let's ignore. So let's do that. Let's continue. Rather. So you have the hair. Oh yeah, so the eyes, I would draw the eye sockets. I would probably just draw them inside of this, you know. And again, it's all about shape, etc. I'm not gonna do too much about it because again, it is your character. I'm mainly fixing the structure issues first. Wait, where's your light source? Which light source do you want to go? It looks frontal, but I don't think you know what you want to do with your light source. Placing the light source, this is a bit of a render. I'm skipping a bit ahead. It's a bit of a render advice. The light direction shouldn't always be. It's a better way to put it. I like to place the light direction where we see less of the character, because, like, for example, the further away area of the character is shorter, we see less of it. It can, especially if you add shadow to it, it becomes like quite occluded, etc. I like to aim the light where it actually shows quite a bit of this, because the right side of the character, there's a lot more space to show like the design and everything else. Of course, you can go with a 2 light setup where you have one on the left, one on the right, or a fill light on the right and the main light source on the left. I will get into that in a second, but I'm just here. Just gonna help you out. There's an issue here as well. The way you're drawing the arm, again, this is an anatomy. I shouldn't really like point it out too much, but like the way you drew the arm, it feels like the arm would have gone like here, and then she has an omega long. You know what I mean? Like it's better if you. I would recommend you to draw when you draw clothing. I would recommend you to draw the character's anatomy underneath the clothing first, and then going around and doing that. So I'm gonna fix that for you real quick, where I would think it would be beneficial. So sort of like that in there, and of course I'll fix the. There you go. And now we can even have more space for the more graphical space for the coat here too. Can create some more shapes with it. There you go. All right. So let's continue. So that there would be a fold, etc. Right. So I like your folds. I don't know if you referenced them or whatever, but they're nice. One thing to keep in mind: we're entering the rendering stage now, and the end of the critique session or the paint over session, which is let's see how it is before and after so far. If there's anything I kind of missed, I feel like I'm gonna use liquify here. I feel like I still need to raise this a little, yeah, a little bit. There you go. And the side of the leg here is straight. Oh, there you go. I knew there was an issue. Again, I'm not amazing. I'm not the best at critiquing legs, but I do find the issues with time. Because the legs tends to go in here and then out like that, and it gives it an angle. Now it feels like she's really stepping into the ground. Yeah. So here it felt like she's maybe like slightly bending her knee, and now she's really like this shape is what you want to go for when she's really putting her feet down, you know. You can still improve on this. It's not 100% accurate, but I do need to move on. Otherwise this will be for going on for too long. And I finally understand the house thing. Yeah, I saw you messaging on Discord. All right, I'm just gonna fix some issues here that I think I overdone a bit. But yeah, this is generally how I think as far as like creating characters. The hands would be sort of there, right? Here's the hands, etc. And this hand would be where it is now on the hips. I don't know if intentionally you want this hand to be higher than the other. If not, then this hand definitely needs to go lower if they're supposed to be on the same place. But for now, I'm gonna keep it because, well, I actually don't know. One thing to keep in mind is that I saw that you need to round the form more a little bit. So for example here, especially in areas where there's sleeves and like the areas of the neck of like a what do you call, like on a shirt or so that wraps around the form, like the shoes where they wrap around the ankle, that sort of stuff. Really pay attention on how much it actually should curve, because that will make your image look quite flat if it's everywhere. Like, notice how I'm just adding a little bit of a curve here and it automatically reads rounder and like it's actually wrapping around. This is a bit of a drawing slash rendering. It's mostly drawing actually, but still, you'll see that how it's actually wrapping around. Another thing is that when you have a shape and you have a shape that goes across it, never do this. You know, even if you wrap it around nicely, everything always has a little bit of thickness. And what I mean by that is, let me zoom in. I see a lot of people doing this. Like, even though you're going around the form here nicely, it's not really going fully around unless it's like skin tight thing. You actually, oh, one sec. I'll keep this spoon though. Unless it's a material that it's skin tight, you're always going to have the shape actually wrap around. This is actually really important. It's a small detail, you'd consider that, but this really helps it show that it's wrapping around. This little bit missing can make all the difference. All the difference. Now it's actually wrapping around. Does that make sense? Not that you can answer. I mean, chat can, but that's how I'm. Or yeah, like bike shorts or something. But even then, notice that if this was bike shorts, you'd have this. Let me show you. Even if this was bike shorts, you'd have like where the sewing would be. There's always a little. Again, it makes all the difference. I'm telling you. There's always a little bump. That's gonna be the name of my rapping career. A little bump. There's always a little thing, always, that is just, it looks skin tight, but like, you know. I'm sure most of you can relate to little bumps, huh, chat? Am I right? Also, I don't know if the sleeve on this one is meant to be rude. I don't know if the sleeve here is meant to be all the way back. If it's supposed to be the same as this one, then you need to show a lot more foreshortening here on the arm, like that. And I can't really teach you that because, I mean, I can, but I would need 3 more hours because it's a perspective lesson. I would recommend looking at you know, perspective guides. A good book is Perspective Made Easy. It lives up to its name. That's where I actually learned most of my perspective stuff. But I'm for now I'm just gonna keep it simple like this. And I'm not gonna draw your face. This will be for you to design. I do think. Oh wait, design. It's good. I was too focused on shapes and drawing. Notice that I didn't draw. I noticed that I didn't render anything, but it automatically feels quite a lot. Has quite a lot more volume. I do think I could work with the top part here. Seems to be just a little off center. Oh, there you go. That's way better. We can bring back the El Toro, like ole, is type of, like, we can push it a little bit more. It should be fine. Push the neck a bit back as well. There you go. Let me fix the collarbone here. Now, I like to make thin necks. It's not anatomically correct. It's probably from my ayaya background. I there's plenty of images I do necks realistically, but the images you're mentioning, I just love. I don't know what it is. I like this shape here, the jaw contrasting against the neck, and there's like this empty space. You know. Now again, this is not anatomically correct, but you did say you wanted to follow more what I do, so that's more what I do. I really like that, especially if it's from the side, you know. Let's talk a bit about design, and then I'll render just a bit to show you a couple of things that I feel like you're missing, and then that's gonna be the end of the paint over. So, boy Gordo, weep. Design wise, for the character that you have, let me see the final. So you have sort of like, you know, these shoes, and you have this, like, is this Adidas? This Adidas looking thing, and you have some makeup on her, which is cool. But here, what I'm gonna do on mine, because I darkened the background. Oh, whoops. Let's do this, and I'll just darken. Just gonna darken the character so we have a bit more contrasty shapes. Cancel. All right. So from the head, she obviously seems like a sporty type of character. The Adidas thing. Let me think here. I feel like she's missing some stuff. Mainly, I mean, you can keep this part here as like you have a one piece, da-da. But she could. There's several ways you could go around this. You could give her high socks, for example, like that. I'm just gonna propose you a few design ideas. You want, like, I just added this, and it automatically starts completing the character design. And the reason for that is quite simple. You want to repeat more what you have here. You want to repeat, sort of like echo, throughout the the character design. It could be short. It could be chat's favorite. So that I don't know, just above the knee. Sort of look to it. She needs a hip gun. She does seem like she would be some sort of, like, she will fuck you up. Right now, she's reading a bit like Takeda from... wait, is it Takeda from... Akira? I think his name is Takeda. I haven't watched it in a long time. But, she could have that. Well, if if this is a Takeda... if I'm gonna mention that, then... oh, this could also have... oh, you wanted the lines on the sides, right? Do you really want them on the sides though? Let me see if there's anything that's better. The sides are okay, but they're not like the best. I'm thinking where else you could put that. I almost like the center better. Like actually going like that. And it shows the form as well of... If you are gonna add those, I would add it here. Although this looks a little lewd. So maybe you want to, like... She can maybe unzip this or whatever. You know? Maybe you want to just sort of like stop it here. Add a little red to where it would stop. And then you can add the white lines on the center too if you really love them. That's fine. But if you're going to add that, maybe you could add... Actually, we can open this if you want, or we can leave it closed. I get that DBZ vibe. Stockings. I said he looks like Akira stuff. Yeah. You can continue that on the side here. Actually, again, continuity to a design is always a good idea. Echoing, you know, and you have some of that maybe against the white here. You have red and white on the shoes. All right, maybe some here on the top. Again, can just keep going with that. What else? You could give her shorts as well, like shorts. That would work really well, and it'll still read like that. You know what I mean? Again, there's so many ways you could go around this. This is just one of many. You could give us some like shorts. You know, that reads very sporty and very like the same sort of mood you're going for. You can even leave the booty out if you really are into that. And you know, like again, one of many possibilities. You don't have to do obviously none of this, but it's just something that you can sort of keep in mind, you know. And you can keep the same, again, continuity. It can be from like the same brand, which seems to be Adidas in this case, or sort of like, or Adidas like. That actually looks kind of cool too. I like that, although I'd have to fix it more for it to actually work. So maybe like really short shorts, you know. But again, you don't have to. The short shorts doesn't even have to be black. They could be a dark red. It could be, actually black works the best, or blue, kind of like that. Then you can have some, I don't know if you want to tie a knot here, or you can have some of the stuff. This is just stuff from the top of my head. The best designs will come from your research. What I'm trying to show you here is a bit of it's just echoing some continuity to your designs. Can help improve it, like looking more unified, you know. How would you go about making this pose more dynamic, John? Good question. Here, I'll show you. Let's invert. Cut. Wait. Okay, now that I have the character on its own, finally. You could. I like to use the puppet warp tool if I already have like a character base, and I just want to adjust a couple of things. So in this case, I could just quickly. I would kind of do what he was going for, which wasn't bad. Hip, sort of like a bit forward, but it can't be too much. Just a touch. There you go. The head could be more down. It's subtle changes, but wait, if I can actually, why can't I use this? Blup. Oh, there you go. Rotate the head down. I could make the shoulder go a little higher. I could make the leg. Wait, the legs here go a bit further back, like so. Again, like just a small adjustment. You see, like it automatically improves it. I usually would leave that for a bit later on. Puppet warp tool it's really not destructive, but wait, I actually should compare it to this other one. Like here she looks like she's on her tippy toes, and here is a lot more grounded for sure. I could actually, like, I'm looking at this even further. We can keep pushing this. Again, it's only a limitation of time for me, but I can keep like going like this to really force the pose here. And it's one of those things that I do paint overs and critiques, but it'll never be enough because there's always something more you can do, you know. The final design you should do is like maybe give her a mustache and eyebrow. No, I'm just kidding. You could give her some like earrings. I feel like she'd look ballin' with some earrings. It could be round earrings. It could be. I would go for straighter ones because you have a bunch of lines and stuff. That could be cool. Obviously, her face. I don't know what kind of expression you want to like. Who is the character is what I would recommend you thinking about. Like, who is she? Is she mad? Is she like chill? She does look like she has an attitude, so maybe a bit of a serious face. One thing I liked is makeup. Again, this is still design. I liked that you gave her makeup. I think her makeup though could have been a bit more like actually look at makeup. And there's a difference between wearing daily makeup and what's the word, like event makeup. So for example, she could have a bit more of an event makeup to her, you know, something simple just as like a lower line red and the above dark, or it could be the other way around. You could have a red eyeshadow with like a darker lower line, or just a red, you know, like eyeshadow on the top like that, along with her. There you go. I don't know if that's what you've done. I don't remember. Let me see. No, you just gave her a smoky eye by the looks of it. And as far as rendering goes, okay, this is the last bit, chat. And then we're done with the paint over. I'm gonna try and make these as educational as possible instead of just making the image better. I'm gonna try to give as much information as possible too. Also, this booty looks a bit broken now. It's because it's not really rounded up here. So the way I would render this, again, it's kind of what we were doing with the Silva Scouts. I think the character was pointing this way. Yeah. I would make a new layer, clip it. I'll actually do it normally, quote unquote normal this time, which is just she's quite bright, so I would go with the hard light, and then there you go. We'll go with a hard light and then place the shadow. Again, if the shadow comes from the left, I'll do a bit of her face here for you. I'll even zoom in. If the shadow comes from the left, you need to know how much from the left, because if it's a lot, then you'll get a big shadow from the nose here. If it's mostly forward but just a bit from the left, you'll get just a little bit here. Again, you'll know that by, well, practicing. But I'll render her a little bit. I'm using just a round brush, and I'm going for mostly like harsh line art. Brush strokes, and then I soften them up with smudge tool. Right now, I'm just like blending the face or the brushes that I make brush strokes that I make. Oh, hold on. I also got coffee. Oh, fine. Finally, I can survive. I'll do it here on the tight. So I do a brush stroke. I shape the brush stroke to whatever is necessary according to the form. Let's do the leg muscle here. There's a leg muscle right there, right? So I would do this leg muscle harshly like this, and then maybe I would shape its curvature, right? And here too. And then I would, with a smudge brush, you can download my smudge brushes on DeviantArt, and I would just soften it like that, and that can already help you. Quite like this can already carry you for a bit. And then of course I wouldn't leave it like that. I would go in and like sort of do the same, like small brush strokes, and then like soft. I meant brush strokes, and then just do that, right? And then you can keep doing it over and over again. Sometimes there's like a core shadow, so you can once again go over like the same area and then blend it again, and you'll get that. You see in a lot of skin, in a lot of everything, to be honest, that it's called the Terminator, I think, where it's like darker here, where the light would really end, and then it's brighter again with the bounce light. So that's kind of how I would do the initial render with just hard light. And typically I do things a little different now. But when I was doing the Final Fantasy Shiva and the other one that you liked as well, it was mostly like this, just a hard light for both shadow and light. So for example, let's say I'm done here with let's pretend I'm done with the face here, right? Well, at least the shadow side of the face. I would do two things. One, in this case, I would make another hard light. It's all gonna be hard light, by the way. I would make another hard light, and one thing that you're missing in your render, even on the final one here, is I can see you're trying, but your ambient occlusion shadows are not as deep as they could be and not as defined as they could be. You almost use this as line art in a way, so where two shapes meet and light can barely get in there, like it's really, really difficult to get in there. That's when I feel like you could benefit a lot from again, you can see here I'm doing that and it's already improving. There's so much I can still help you with this, man, but the video is already getting really long, and I don't want to get I don't want to drag it for long. You pretty much got the main course. But there you go. Like I would really, really define it anywhere where there's creases and things like that. I would push it a lot more, especially on the coats. Coats tend to have that a ton, where it goes really thin and then it spreads, like it does this, really thin, and then when it spreads out, it gets softer and softer, and it's something you realize from observation. Like I would really pay attention to that stuff. So yeah, I'm just doing a couple of areas here for you so you can see throughout how I would do it. Same would be like the lips, Oh, she could have like a. Oh, there you go. She could have like a dark lipstick, maybe, maybe. But there you go. Also, what else? What else? What else? What else? Everything follows form. I think I pretty much mentioned that. Why not multiply? Because hard light is a lot more flexible in terms of like sometimes I don't want to just use shadows on that layer. I want to maybe add just a little bit brightness to it. And hard light can do both. I know, I just feel like hard light is a better additive layer than multiply. At least the effect that I get is something that I feel like it's closer to real life than not to real light and real shadow than multiply. Multiply tends to be a bit, I don't know, I use it in very specific cases. It's not a bad layer at all, but you know. At this point I'm rendering your character. But I'm gonna stop now. And again, I think you're missing a bit of the darker values overall. Like again, ambient occlusion shadow. Occlusion shadows rather. You could benefit from some ambient light as well. Yeah, so that means reflections. Let me see an area. Oh, you know what? I'll do your coat here a little bit. So let's say, where did we say the light was coming from? The left, right? Let's say the light is coming from the left. So here's your shadow, or your form shadow. Right? Here it is. And now, you could get a little bit, oh, again, why do I use hard light? Because now I can use the same layer if I want to. Oftentimes you want to separate them, but I can just make it a little brighter. I'll bring the, whoops, hold on, I disconnected my thingy. God dang it, how do I, oh, okay. Here's Colores. So I would just make it a bit brighter. Wait, why am I HSV? Where's my lab? Oh, there you go. A bit brighter. Maybe a little cooler. And now, you could benefit. This is a little much. There you go. That's the thing. The problem with hard light is that you gotta be careful with. It goes really intensive, and that's why I like it. It's because it goes pretty damn intensive. But now you can just add a little bit of a blue. Oh, there you go. It's subtle, but it helps. Maybe I'll overdo it just a little bit for you here. A bit of ambient light from the scene, filling in some of these shadows. You can do this. You don't really have to. But I feel like you could benefit from that in your image overall. We can add a little bit here on the hair too. Wait, there you go. Just a little bit on the hair, maybe on the inside, maybe here, maybe on the even on the underside, like very subtly, you know. Again, a lot of this is not rendered because I spent more time helping you with other areas, but I think you get the point, right? This is actually a little too much. I'm gonna bring it down a notch. There you go. I mean, I could keep going, etc., right? But I will say that this concludes. Let me put the music. There you go. This concludes your critique, or your paint over rather. Morkeni, hope this helps you. I can show you before and after. Let's see that. This was before. This was after. Before. After. There you go. There's still some things I would still change. I do feel like these legs might be a bit much. Also, I rendered the muscles on one leg and I didn't do the other. So you're gonna have to ignore that. And I'll upload this on Discord. You died. I'll upload this on Discord again. Don't forget, chat. Tier 1 subs can get art reviews and portfolio reviews. Tier 2 subs can get paintovers like this. I try to be as in-depth as possible. I feel like a lot of people could benefit from it. Yeah, thank you once again, especially Morkeni for subbing for this. And see you on the next one. Bye-bye.